Hello, welcome to AK Lighting. We're going to be looking at a house that we did a while ago, and just to emphasize, as we're going about these jobs while it's going into summer, we definitely want to make sure we have sunscreen on, and we're taking all the precautions necessary for us to be able to be protected as we're going about our work and helping you to have a better house. One of the things we often do when we go to a house is we will take out any old landscape lighting that they might have. A lot of the times it means there will be buried wires from those as well, but we always will start with making a spot for us to put our wires in, just to make it so they're new and they'll last. To make it so that our landscape lights will last about as long. He also wanted us to check and see if the moonlights that he had installed previously were going to work, but they were high voltage, so we weren't able to work with them. In the side yard, there are some lights that are going to be up here on the soffit that are going to light the pathway. Then we have some path lights and spotlights on each of these trees, including this tree in front of the windows. And on this island, we were going to make these lights be a little bit brighter, as they're definitely the center of the show. Like, look at this. They look awesome, and I love being there. Over here we have this other tree with another spotlight next to it and some more path lights that we're going to have to take down. We also put some more fence lights right there on the soffit, and we're going to be putting our transformer here next to this plug. Here we can see that we're taking out some of the old lighting, following the wire to try and make sure we get as much of it out of the ground as possible. When we're not able to follow the wire all the way, we'll cut it pretty close to whatever is getting it stuck on it. And after digging out spots for our wires, we'll push them in with a poker and cover them back up to protect them from any critters, as well as to keep them out of the elements. With connecting the lights, we'll use these copper crimps to keep all of the wires bundled up while we put it underground. And then we put that copper crimp inside of a grease tube. That'll also protect it. And after we get our wire in the grease tube, we'll make sure that that also gets buried very close to the light, so that way any future maintenance that we do will be easier to access this. Future maintenance being if we need to replace the light, if a wire goes bad, or if we need to move the light or add a light. And you can see that after all this, it's pretty much like it's not there. After a couple cycles of rain and watering, it'll be like it's not there at all. This is a bodacious light that we were using for the front yard. We wanted to see how they were going to work, and they're a little bit bulkier than some of the other lights that we use, but it still gave a pretty good coverage on the tree. And again, we connect it the same way, where we put all the wires together in a crimp in order to make sure it has power. And then afterwards we'll cover that with a grease tube and bury that as well. With the wires, it doesn't necessarily matter which side is which. It's not a positive or negative. You just need one from each wire that's being connected in. Now with these bodacious lights being a little bit bigger, it was a little harder to get them further down. There actually were a lot of tree roots in the area, which is why we had to pull it back out and kind of chop at it a little bit more to get further down. But in the end, we still weren't able to get it as far down as we had originally wanted. But it wasn't sticking up too far, which was still nice. As is the case with most houses, we'll have to go across their front sidewalk For this one, we had to go along the side of the wall and then in front of the house. So I used an angle grinder to make room for our wire to go across. And with that all wired up, pretty much all the lights in the front yard are done. And we can see that all the lights look pretty nice. All the old lights are taken out. Our bodacious lights in front of the main tree look very good. The path lights are in a very beautiful area. And the spotlights on the front of the house look like they're going to be exactly doing the things that we need them to. In the spot that we cut across, we put some sand that activates with water that you can see right there just briefly. And this is the right side of the yard. More of the lights, even the one that we weren't able to get down as far, still looked pretty good and like it was closer into the ground. But these are pretty much all the lights in the front yard. So let's go take a look at what we've been doing in the back. We had to hide the wire and we went through the gutter in order to do so. And that connected to our fence lights that are on the soffit and then connected back out on the other side of the downspout through the gutter. And then we buried it into the ground right next to it, which was powering the spotlight and path light that's right here. And then we had our wire that was going to be going across this main island in the back to connect to our path lights and spotlights. After the main island, it would need to go underneath the rocks to connect to our other spotlight, and then go under the rocks again in order to connect to our transformer bus. With the old lights out and our lights in, it's starting to look like we're getting very close to being done with today's job. And even more of our lights are done, things are covered up. We had a small change where we were placing the path light there in order to light the area a little bit better. But I love how this looks already during the day, and I can't wait to see it at night. Again, right here, we had to go underneath the rocks so that the path goes right between those two bricks that are coming off the edge and underneath these large flat rocks. That went to this spotlight and then trailed back over to where the transformer was. Canyon was working on our fence lights that were going into the soffit to light up this path. And very similar to our other lights, we stripped the wire and connected it with crimps and then put grease tubes over it. But since it's in the gutter, we just stuck it under. This gutter had a little bit of a mesh over the top. It's totally fine. That's something that we work with at a lot of different houses. So even if you have that, we can work around that. And we fastened the fence light up into the soffit. Spaced a little bit away to give room for the wire, as well as to make sure that it's not just shining brightly on the fascia that it's right next to. Now, after all of this, we did move around a lot of dirt, so we had to clean up a little bit. We always try and clean up where we can every time that we're at a job. That way, we don't leave it in a worse condition than when we found it. Plus, with the displacement of the dirt, it's nice to get it back to help cover the wire and also cover up the lights. So, we went back the next week to take a look at the lights, and this is the front. Our path lights look like they're lighting up the area very well. It's so bright. We were testing out what wattage of bulbs, the brightness that we were going to be using on these spotlights, and these looked slightly washed, so we were going to trade them out for a dimmer bulb. This path light with the flowers is absolutely stunning. On both sides of the walkway. And you can see that it doesn't look like there's anything out of place. And to take a look at the backyard, these are the fence lights that were in the soffit that are just lighting the walkway here. And even though they're pretty far to the side, they're lighting up the majority of this path. And the trees back here look absolutely glorious. There was a concern that the tree in front of the windows would be too bright with the spotlight we had on it, but we heard later that there was not any complaints from anyone that was sleeping in the rooms next to that. The path lights on the island looked like they were lighting up everything just perfectly. And the final fence lights, the last little walkway. And we did come back to add another light at the end of this pathway. If you liked anything in this video, please leave a like and go over to our website to schedule an appointment or check out our masterclass video on how you can improve the lighting for your house via landscaping or gemstone lights. Thank you and have a great day.